The NBA is not just a game, it's a drama, a spectacle, and a battle of wills. And sometimes things get out of hand, tempers flare, words are exchanged, and fists are thrown. But which players were included in these kind of feuds this year? Let's find out. Starting with Giannis Antetokounmpo, who stole the show with 64 points, a career and franchise record for the Milwaukee Bucks in their big win against the Indiana Pacers on December 14th. Well, the celebration took an unexpected turn when Giannis couldn't find the game ball to mark his epic achievement. He was a one-man wrecking crew with 14 rebounds, 3 assists, and 4 steals to round out his phenomenal performance. Meanwhile, Damian Lillard was also on fire, knocking down 21 points and passing Kyle Korver on the all-time three-pointers list. But back to Giannis. After the game, he stormed into the Pacers' locker room, had a heated exchange with Tyrese Halliburton, and then made a fuss about not getting the right ball to commemorate his historic game. Giannis did eventually lay his hands on a ball, but he wasn't convinced it was the real deal.
I really don't know. I have a ball, but I don't know if it's a game ball. It doesn't feel like the game ball to me. It feels like a brand new ball.
And this heated exchange reminds us of the November drama. When the Golden State Warriors clashed with the Minnesota Timberwolves on November 14th, things got heated real quick. That too less than 2 minutes into the game, and the players were at each other's jerseys. No points were even scored yet, and Klay Thompson and Jaden McDaniels ended up tugging at each other's jerseys. And then Rudy Gobert stepped in to calm things down, but ended up in a headlock courtesy of Draymond Green. After the dust settled, the refs sent Thompson, McDaniels, and Green packing. But despite the drama, the Timberwolves came out on top with a 104-101 win, placing them at the top of the Western Conference's Group C.
0 the first 2 minutes, and then look at Thompson and McDaniels. What is going on with that? Wow. You've got a full-on fracas going on. Draymond came in to defend Klay. This got out of hand very quickly.
Well, the drama didn't stop there and that wild night. The play between the Los Angeles Lakers and the Memphis Grizzlies had its own share of fireworks. After Anthony Davis made a killer shot, things got a bit rough, with Santi Aldama ending up on the floor. Then Desmond Bane from Memphis got up close and personal with Davis, and they ended up chest bumping like two stubborn rams. Things sure did heat up, but eventually they all cooled off and got back to the game. The tension even got to the Grizzlies' head coach, Taylor Jenkins, and technical fouls were flying left and right, with Davis, Aldama, Bane, Jenkins, and Lakers guard D'Angelo Russell all getting in on the action. In the end, the Lakers dominated with a 134-107 win, putting them in the lead in Group A of the Western Conference. Now, let's talk about the Sacramento Kings. Trey Lyles got a paid one-game timeout, and Milwaukee Bucks' Brook Lopez got fined $25,000 for their little tiff at the end of a game on the 13th of March. The drama unfolded as Giannis Antetokounmpo was just minding his business, dribbling out the ball in the Bucks' win, when Lyles fouled him and things just spiraled from there. Next thing you know, Lyles gave Lopez a little tap and then wrapped him up. Both got the boot, and Lyles had to twiddle his thumbs during the Kings game against the Bulls on the 15th of March. And the Orlando Magic and Minnesota Timberwolves game turned into a real bad blood moment on February 3rd. It all kicked off late in the third quarter, right in front of the Orlando bench. Rivers missed a three-point shot near the Orlando bench that seemed to set off Bamba. Next thing you know, Rivers and Bamba were throwing punches like they were auditioning for a boxing match, with other players joining the tussle. In the aftermath, Rivers, Jaden McDaniels, and Taurean Prince got the boot from the Timberwolves, while Jalen Suggs and Bamba were shown the door for Orlando. And that wasn't the only incident. The night before, things got feisty between Dillon Brooks from the Memphis Grizzlies and Donovan Mitchell from the Cleveland Cavaliers. Brooks landed a blow on Mitchell, who replied with a ball throw and a good old-fashioned tussle. Mitchell even called Brooks a dirty player afterward. The NBA didn't let it slide, handing out a one-game suspension to Brooks and slapping Mitchell with a $20,000 fine. One between Trae Young of the Atlanta Hawks and Marcus Smart of the Boston Celtics at State Farm Arena. But things got pretty heated during the clash between the San Antonio Spurs and the great Denver Nuggets. Michael Porter Jr. really stirred the pot when he celebrated his dunk right in Zach Collins' face. But as they say, a small spark can ignite a fire in a matter of seconds, and that's exactly what happened here. After Porter's in-your-face celebration, Collins didn't take it lightly, and before you know it, they were in each other's faces. Just then, Porter ended up grabbing Collins' neck. Usually, this kind of action gets you a technical foul, but there was no time for the refs to blow the whistle on this one. It escalated so quickly, so both players ended up getting the boot with a double technical and got ejected from the game. But the unfortunate moment was when the Nuggets ended up losing to one of the underdog teams in the competition. And here we go again with the drama between Draymond Green and Dillon Brooks. Like, seriously, if there's anyone who can get a technical foul just by being himself, it's Draymond Green. The Grizzlies went on to claim a solid victory over the Warriors, 131-110. And Green and Brooks added some heated moments by going at it face-to-face in a court, and then taking their feud to the media off the court. In the end, Brooks put up 14 points, made 6 assists, and grabbed 4 rebounds in the victory, while Green managed 16 points, 7 assists, and 5 boards in the loss. But wait, the highlight of it all was when Brooks scored to extend Memphis' lead, and then things got funny between him and Green during interviews, with Green saying,
"I get technical fouls when I want to get a technical foul. I don't get baited into technical fouls." And so I think that's probably the difference in between me and him. If I do that to him, it'd be a double tech because he'd respond. But it's not a double tech because I didn't respond.
And that's what Brooks said.
Hey, thank you. Appreciate it. You should give the mic to Draymond. Make him keep talking about me so I can play better. All right.
But that's not as heated as Rudy Gobert's punch. Things got pretty intense on the bench when Timberwolves' Rudy Gobert threw a punch at his own teammate Kyle Anderson during a heated argument in the game against New Orleans on April 9th. And if that wasn't enough, Jaden McDaniels put his availability in doubt by venting his frustration and hitting a wall, where he ultimately suffered with his right hand injury. Looks like the team wasn't teaming up. And as if this day wasn't over for fights, the Los Angeles Clippers added another drama to their win against the Phoenix Suns. During the game, Clippers center Mason Plumlee and Bones Highland had a little showdown on the bench. And ultimately, Norman Powell had to step in and sort it out. When asked about the scuffle, Clippers head coach Tyronn Lue said,
"If you ain't getting it right, fight then. It's a big game, so if it ain't right, do something to fix it." And after that little skirmish, we took off and played a lot better, so maybe we should do that more often.
What's even more interesting is that both teams that had internal scuffles went on to win their games. But the tension between Devin Booker and Luka Doncic appeared on the 5th of March dates back to last year's playoffs, when the Dallas Mavericks sent the Phoenix Suns packing. These guys surely aren't on each other's holiday card list, so the things got heated once again. The Suns managed to snag a win from the Mavericks, but not without some serious smack talk between Doncic and Booker. Doncic even said this to Booker in an interview.
It's competitive basketball. I really love his game, the way he plays. A lot of times I watch the Phoenix actually, because of him. He's a really great player. But obviously we have this competition whenever we face each other.
And Booker later mentioned,
"You guys say you don't want everybody to be friendly. There you go. I have no problem with Luka on or off the court, but when we're competing, we're competing."
But at least they both managed to keep it light and no punches were thrown. They say that success breeds envy, but in the case of the Philadelphia 76ers, it also breeds contempt. The Sixers are one of the oldest franchises in the National Basketball Association, but despite their long history, they have only won 3 championships and none since 1983. What makes this team so polarizing and hated by many fans? Stay tuned to find out. So, the main thing that makes people hate the Sixers, that goes without saying, is the big talking and no proof on the court. And it all starts with Joel Embiid. He's a real team player, always hyping up the franchise and staying true to the process, even when other NBA fans doubt them. And let's talk about Embiid's tweets. They stir things up big time. He's not shy about sharing his thoughts, whether it's welcoming Lonzo Ball to the league or sizing up the Sixers' playoff hopes. That's also why the internet is really not feeling the Sixers' confidence, and you can see why. Yet injuries have hit them hard, but, well, we all know that Joel Embiid alone can elevate the Philadelphia 76ers to playoff contention. As a rookie, he was a defensive powerhouse, but the top players have only totaled 31 games together. It's no wonder how some players steer clear of playing with Embiid because of the way he shows his petty side and his childish behavior. But if you're not a Sixers fan, you might agree that Joel Embiid is the man that everyone loves to hate. No doubt, he's got some serious skills on the court, but at the same time, he's a master at getting under people's skin. Embiid's got skill for days, but he's also got a reputation on the court. He's notorious for trash talking.
They're going back and forth. They're going back and forth. We've seen this before in the previous matchups this year with Embiid and KD having words.
Strutting his stuff after big plays.
76ers are taking advantage as Embiid is fouled in the act.
And generally being a bit of a showman.
Like the Warriors 2 years ago.
Joe.
I was kidding, man. I tried to say.
Some fans love the drama he brings to the game, while others see it as unsportsmanlike conduct. And it's not just his on-court antics that rub people the wrong way. Embiid has been known to stir the pot off the court too, with his controversial social media posts and bold statements in interviews. He's not one to shy away from speaking his mind, and not everyone is on board with that. But it's not just about the talk. Embiid's physical style of play also has ruffled some people's feathers. His aggressive and confrontational nature on the court has landed him in hot water more than once. While some see it as a toughness and determination, others think he crosses the line into dirty play. Now, it's not all about Embiid himself. The team he plays for, the Sixers, has also made a few enemies along the way. Their process of ranking for top draft picks didn't win them any popularity contests among NBA fans. At the end of the day, whether you love him or loathe him, there's no denying that Embiid is a force to be reckoned with on the court. He's a polarizing figure, but his talent speaks for itself.
Way outside near the arc. Green may angle something toward the rim. It gives to Embiid. He'll turn. Got
And no matter how much hate comes his way, there'll always be a legion of fans ready to have his back. So, love him or hate him, Embiid's here to stay, and he's not afraid to keep things interesting. After all, what's the NBA without a little drama and debate? But how about adding a healthy Ben Simmons and Markelle Fultz to Embiid? That's a recipe for a dangerous team, potentially, and it's surely understandable why doubts creep in with the Sixers' injury record. But if you're a true NBA fan, you've seen what these three guys did in college. Their game is bound to shine in the big leagues. Yet, it seems like Ben Simmons had lost the fan base too. Throughout his time in Philly, Ben Simmons has been quite the talker, expressing his plans to level up his game. But around here, words are one thing, actions are another. Over time, it's clear his focus zeroed in on adding a decent outside game to his offense, but it never quite happened. He was surrounded by sharpshooters and scorers who could have helped him up his shooting game. And with the right mindset about improving his jump shot, he could have sought tips from JJ Redick and Jimmy Butler. Some extra grind after practice, soaking up the techniques and work ethic of players like Redick, Butler, and Tobias Harris could have made a real difference. But instead, he's out there shooting three-pointers with Dwight Howard. Seems like he's banking on the idea that he's good enough without a jumper. If that were true, we would have aced the Hawks series, right? But now the consequences are catching up, and his lack of attempts from downtown in the regular season hasn't done his confidence any favors. Relying on his defensive prowess to win fans over was a flawed move. Why didn't his coaches push him harder and challenge him to step up? Well, they did. Remember when Brett Brown gave Simmons props for sinking those three-pointers 4 seasons back against the Knicks? Brown even hoped Simmons would make one per game. But then, how many attempts did he make after his coach backed him? 0. Seems like this is what Stephen A. Smith was talking about regarding Simmons' stubbornness. At the end of the day, Simmons isn't interested in upping his scoring game. It's crystal clear. He's practically telling the whole fan base, I am who I am. Take it or leave it. Sorry, but that attitude wasn't going to fly in Philly. If he had even an ounce of grit or cared about winning, he would take a page out of Kobe Bryant or his mentor, LeBron James's book. But right now, Simmons doesn't seem to have either, and fans doubt he ever will. And that reminds us of Sam Hinkie shaking up the league in 2013 and riling up everyone. The team's fans had the smarts and patience to stick it out through some rough seasons, proving their loyalty. But, well, Sam Hinkie wrote that bold resignation letter that set the tone for the Sixers' fearless attitude. These players don't hold back either. They make big statements in the media about the upcoming seasons, but the internet can be brutal. Even ESPN's Instagram got involved, sharing Markelle Fultz's prediction about making the playoffs in 2017. The comments were rough. "That's a hilarious, nice joke. Markelle, you're drunk, go home." And a ton of laughing emojis. It's been tough, losses piling up, doubts swirling, but hold up, injuries do heal. And the Sixers have finally got the pieces to assemble a winning team. Yet the big comeback against the Sixers is how little their core has played together. Just 31 games. But time will tell if the process paid off or not. And while patience is key to the process, it seems like most NBA fans on Twitter and Instagram are not on board with waiting it out. And you know the Sixers fan base all has a way of stirring up some strong feelings. Danny Green, the free agent from 2021, brought this up on the Takeoff with John Clark podcast. We totally get what he's saying. Fans can really make or break a team's spirit. And in the case of the Sixers, it seems like they could use a bit more love and support from their fans. Green brought up a great point about sticking by the team through thick and thin. He mentioned how the fans need to ride with the team, especially during tough times. After all, the Sixers are rocking the #1 spot in the East, so they definitely deserve some extra cheers and high fives. He also touched on how Ben Simmons in particular deserves respect and support. It's tough when a player like him, who's given so much to the team and the city, doesn't feel love in return. And Green really hoped for a change in the fans' attitude. He wanted them to shift away from being seen as cold and rough, and instead to embrace the positive energy they bring to the games. And let's not forget, he also acknowledged the frustration that fans may have built up over the years. Change can be tough, but it's important to savor the great moments and support the team through the not-so-great ones. In the end, Green's message to the fans is crystal clear: protect, encourage, and stand by the team just as they stand by the fans. With that being said, remember, whether you love them or loathe them, the Sixers bring drama to the NBA scene. And it goes without saying, what's the NBA without drama? Some NBA celebrations are so cold that they send shivers down your spine. And in this video, we're going through exactly those celebrations that make you stand still and think about what just happened. Celebrations so iconic that they are etched in the history books for generations to remember and marvel at. Do you have a favorite one? Keep watching to find out if it makes the list. What's a better celebration to start with than one of the most iconic celebrations from an iconic player? We haven't seen this one in a while, which is a shame because LeBron James's silencer celebration was one of the coolest NBA player signature celebrations out there. It wasn't just the simple movements of this celebration. The intensity and emotion that this celebration requires make it truly iconic and ice cold. It became so popular that even some NFL players would use it after scoring a touchdown. And even within the NBA, many players like Trae Young have been doing this ever since LeBron brought this masterpiece out to the public. While pretending to holster and shoot a pair of guns is badass, pretending to silence a baby after scoring a nasty bucket takes it to the next level. We're talking about Westbrook, who's best known for his tenacity and strength in getting to the rim, often overpowering even bigger players during his forays to the rim. To celebrate such occasions, Westbrook would celebrate by rocking the baby to really let opponents know what he thought of them. That's one hell of a way to destroy your opponent's egos. Just imagine how the players on the other side of the court must have felt to be compared to a crying baby that needs to be silenced in front of the whole world. Now that's cold. Another ego-shattering celebration comes from Carmelo Anthony. In this memorable celebration, Carmelo Anthony would hold up 3 fingers and tap his temple 3 times after hitting a 3-pointer. Still, he would do so almost stoically at times to let opponents know how light of work they were for Anthony. Rasheed Wallace had a similar celebration, which the NBA banned during his time in Boston. And if the NBA is banning a celebration, then you know it's serious business. There has been some speculation on the internet where people claim that Melo actually stole the celebration from Wallace. But it doesn't matter because it was Melo who brought the celebration to the spotlight and gave it the meaning it now has. Suppose there's one thing D'Angelo Russell has never lacked. In that case, it's confidence, as embodied in his popular Ice in My Veins celebration, in which he'd point to his vein after hitting a big shot to let his opponents know how cold-blooded he is, i.e. never nervous or scared to take a big shot. It is perhaps one of the coolest ones on this list. The sheer tenacity and confidence required to pull this one off is huge, but Russell had those in spades. Even LeBron has been seen pulling this one off on several occasions. Next up, we have a one-time celebration by the legendary Michael Jordan. As good as Michael was, he was barely known for his three-pointers. Instead, he used to rule the court based on his infamous dunks and clutch play. But now and then, he used to score a three-pointer, and it was one such occasion during the 1992 NBA Finals, when Michael went unconscious from three, prompting him to look over at Magic Johnson, who was calling the game, and shrug innocently as if to say, even he had no idea what was going on. This became an instant classic and is remembered to this day as one of the coldest celebrations. Trae Young's ability to catch fire, especially from beyond the arc, is unmatched in today's NBA. The irony? When Young goes on a scoring tear, he celebrates by acting like he's cold mid-stride while hustling back down the court. It's a move that screams, "I'm the coldest player on this court." The celebration is a certified banger, especially when paired with Young's electrifying gameplay. It's the ultimate statement, a stylish way to let opponents know who's in charge and who the real boss is on the hardwood. Young's icy celebration is as slick as his three-pointers, a defining mark of his on-court swagger. Dikembe Mutombo's finger wag celebration is the coldest move on the court.
Secretary of Education and
He had to get one in before he even blocked it. Yeah, he knew that. Yeah,
Pure swag. The icy coolness of that finger wag sends chills down your spine. It's not just a celebration, it's a statement. Mutombo's basically saying, "Nuh-uh, not today." The nonchalant flick of the finger turns a block into a cold masterpiece. Opponents must feel like they just got hit with an Arctic blast. Mutombo really took celebrations to sub-zero levels. But even below the finger wag on the disrespect scale is the big balls celebration, made famous by ballers like Sam Cassell, LeBron James, and Kobe Bryant. It brings that extra chill to the hardwood.
Left side. And he needs to get a
This bold move involves throwing up a hand gesture that screams confidence, like you're cradling a pair of MVP-sized cojones. The origin? Sam Cassell likely dropped it back in his Houston Rockets days, sparking a trend that's gone global. Despite some leaks trying to ice it out, the big ball celebration is NBA slang for pure swagger. It's controversial, yeah, but it's also a symbol of in-your-face confidence that's become as iconic as a buzzer beater. Cold moves, colder celebrations. When it comes to the too small celebration, Kevin Durant owns it with pure swagger. Remember that epic moment? KD looks at Evan Fournier after scoring and straight up tells him he's too tiny to defend. Brutal, right? Durant doesn't just celebrate, he throws shade with style. It's a mic drop that leaves opponents like Fournier feeling the cold truth. They can't hang with KD. The too small move is Durant's way of saying, "You're outmatched, my friend." Icy, bold, and to the point, just like Durant's game. Durant rarely celebrates his wins, but when he does, you better believe it's icy. Giannis Antetokounmpo, a powerhouse in today's NBA, doesn't just dominate on the court, he flexes his strength with an icy swagger. After throwing down a dunk or converting an and one, Giannis takes a moment to let opponents feel the raw power, flexing like a living testament to strength. However, his mean mugging game reached a peak when he got ejected for this ice-cold celebration. And Giannis, being Giannis, didn't back down and decided to sit in the front row in protest. His celebrations are as formidable as his game, and that ejection was the definition of an ice-cold mic drop. In a defining moment during Game 1 of the 2001 NBA Finals, Allen Iverson delivered one of the most humiliating celebrations in league history. After sinking a dagger jumper, he boldly stepped over Ty Lue, a former Laker turned Clipper. It was a move drenched in disrespect and unapologetic swagger. In today's NBA, that maneuver might draw an immediate technical foul, but the fact that it unfolded in a different era adds to its legendary status. Next up, let's talk about Dame Lillard's wrist tap. After drilling game winners or sealing the deal with a clutch shot, my man points at his wrist like, "It's Dame time, baby." This move is straight up one of the coolest ways to flex in NBA history. When Dame taps that wrist, you know the game's in the bag. It's his way of saying, "I own this moment." Pure swagger. A legendary move that's become part of Dame's baller brand. When that wrist tap happens, you better believe it's game over. Ice cold confidence, no doubt. And last but not least, we have Dwayne Wade's "This is my house" celebration. It's like he's having a real heart-to-court moment, telling it straight up, "I own this place." Wade nails a killer shot, and then with that unshakable confidence, he points to the floor like, "Yeah, this is my home turf." The crowd goes wild, and you can practically touch the excitement in the air. It's more than just a move, it's a whole vibe. Wade's swagger is next level, and when he throws up that "This is my house" sign, you can't help but catch that infectious energy. It's like he's shouting to the entire arena, "I'm the boss here." That's all from us today. Did we miss any celebration that deserved to be on this list? Let us know in the comments below.